Okay, so I had my first day at university today doing my it was like a lot of information to take in, but it's like ultimately leave me quite feeling energized, and hopefully that's a really good sign for kind of moving forward. I'm gonna try and every day do a a piece of reading, and hopefully that's going to kind of lead to some sort of thoughts that I'm having as I kind of try to like document all this, my thoughts, and then hopefully, it might come in useful for somebody else, but also, when I look back at it, I'm going to be able to kind of, elicit those same thoughts. So I was reading this article on authenticity, and I think that authenticity in comedy is like a really important factor because I think that if you, like people can tell like really quite easily. Uh, if you're being unauthentic, I think that you as a performer aren't quite connecting with an audience, and I think that there's something in that audience that stops them from fully getting on board with you. I mean, obviously, there's like various different exceptions to that rule, like character arcs and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, on that note, I mean, I've always considered myself like a working class comic. Um, to what degree I kind of show that and showed that in the past is like up for debate. However, um, it got me thinking about like working class representation within comedy, which is quite a hot button topic. Like Lee Kyle recently did the working class fringe brochure, and there is like a movement for more working class representation, and I think that that's partly down to like working class comics not necessarily getting the same exposure on TV, but also I was thinking like in terms of audiences, like the price of comedy as a whole. I mean, obviously, again, talking in broad generalizations, this can, there's loads of, things to be picked at here, but comedy as a whole is quite an expensive thing. I mean, even if like you go to a comedy night and, it's £10 a ticket, say if that's like a young working class couple, that's like, so that's £10 plus £10, so there's £20 plus maybe a babysitter. There's another £20 plus maybe a £20 for a taxi. There's another £20 plus drinks. There's another £20. All of a sudden, this £10 comedy night has become £80, £100, and again, not everyone's got that. So I don't know quite how much working class is being represented in audiences at comedy nights, just because it is on the whole getting more expensive, and not just that comedy nights, just getting more expensive in general. It wouldn't surprise me if, because I've been thinking about it, it feels like the comedy circuit is almost kind of splitting in terms of like there are different niches, there's different comedy nights, there's different like pigeonholing of acts and pigeonholing of audiences, and maybe that once a little bit more time's passed will end up fragmenting the circuit, where rather than there being a comedy circuit as a whole, there'll be a working class circuit, there'll be the BAME circuit, there'll be this circuit, there'll be that circuit, in terms of because if the comedians and the nights keep on, going for more specific, then maybe the audiences will also end up just going for those nights that cater for them, because we do ultimately enjoy hearing thoughts and experiences that echo our own. Also, I was reading about how being an audience member, you're quite passive, and there's loads of people who are looking at like passive versus active relationships, and usually it's the performer that's active and the audience member that's passive. It's not quite the same in comedy, but it is ultimately the performer performing and the audience watching, and we're heading towards this world in which it's incredibly easy to be passive. Like you just get home, you stick on Netflix, and then all of a sudden there's all this content for you to, be passive with. And particularly if you don't have that much money, it would be a case of, do you want to spend all that money on a comedy night that you're not necessarily certain about? Or maybe you can, you're already paying £8 for Netflix, or maybe, you're getting it for free. But, anyway, that was just something that I was thinking about in terms of, comedy audience members just kind of going towards, getting it all online and being passive, and it being more and more passive. And if that's the case, then what's that going to reflect in live comedy audience members when they do eventually go see it live? And that was just a couple of thoughts I had. Anyway, catch you in a bit.